So welcome, everybody. We appreciate you taking the time to join us again here. So today's webinar is the new and improved Amigo by Enhanced Vision. And to the left there is the Bitmoji of me looking at Michelle as she's holding up the Amigo. I'm probably jealous because she's got a new Amigo and she's kicking me to the curb.
Yeah, we're always jealous of whoever gets it first, huh?
That is true. That is true. To figure out, what it can do. It's always fun.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be on here with you, Mike. These things are so educational and we have so much fun bringing this information to you. And I'm from originally the Enhanced Vision side of the house. So this is the third Amigo that we've had. So it's really wonderful to see all these huge improvements that are made to technology as we go down this road. So thanks for having me, Mike.
Oh gosh, Michelle, thanks for joining me. And thanks for all the help and support. So you, of course, are the North Central Sales Director. I've got our slide up now showing our contact information. Michelle's email is mwilliams@vispero.com. And for those of you that are first-time attendees, Vispero is VISPERO. And I am Mike Wood, Strategic Accounts Manager for Education. And my email is mwood@vispero.com. So we are offering ACV REP credits today, and I ask that you email the following information: your name, the title of the event today, which is the new and improved Amigo by Enhanced Vision, the date of the event, which is September 8th, and also thanks to Carl for reminding us that today in 1966 was the official launch of Star Trek. Live long and prosper. And the opening and closing code. So your opening code for today is going to be BEST, BEST. And I will put that in the chat for everybody. And opening code is BEST. And send all of that information, again, your name, title of the event, the date, and the opening and closing code to credits. Credits is plural, credits@vispero.com, CREDITS@VISPERO.com. And
there we go. And someone here today will be a lucky winner of a $500 Vispero gift card, which you can put towards anything. Might not go towards an Amigo, it might be software, it can be really anything that you want. But I think after you see all these new features of the Amigo, it's going to be pretty enticing. So stay with us till the end, and we will announce the winner before we sign off. All right. And so we like to start off with what are the goals of this particular webinar. First of all, we're going to share the most important stuff of the day, which is what are the changes that were made to the Amigo? How could you possibly make it even better than it already is? And there's a lot of really great changes. So we're going to also talk about the color blindness filter that is just unique to our products at Vispero. And then the all-new dynamic contrast with edge effects and how that helps you with this particular product.
so for those of you that are familiar with the Amigo, or even those that are not, if you're not, then I think you'll be thoroughly impressed. But those of you that have used the prior Amigos, you will see the big difference. So one of the major differences is the screen size. So we increased the screen size from 7 inches to 8 inches on this. The camera has been increased or upgraded, I should say. So you now have a 13 megapixel camera. Smoother pictures. So when you're looking at photographs or images in a magazine, a cookbook, the pictures are going to look smoother. Sharper characters. So I find that that's always helpful. And we'll do a live demo later. But when you're reading something like the text in a magazine or in the newspaper, this really sharpens those characters for you. You do now have 2 cameras. So you have the desktop magnification, and you also have a distance camera. You have something that's pretty neat in here that's a new feature called live image panning. And I'll show that live later on. And we also have a slide talking about that. The dynamic contrast, that's really a cool feature. And Michelle's going to share a couple images later on about that. Edge effects. and of course the color blindness filter. So some of these are patented tools that are only in Vispero branded products, and it's exciting to have some of these added into the Amigo for this new version.
Absolutely. And I think we do get asked this quite a bit. What do you get in that box? As usual, we give you the whole deal. You get the Amigo device itself, a beautiful protective carrying case. I really like the case on this one. So Mike, you'll have to show that when you do your awesome live demo. A lens cloth to take care of the screen, an AC adapter power supply, obviously, so you can recharge your unit, a USB-C to USB-A power cable. So that just means your square ends to the little oval universal USB connector that is on most electronics these days. And then, of course, information for use documents like a quick setup guide. And I like the fact that we've really made our quick setup guides very easy to understand. So this is pretty exciting.
And you know, I was just digging here to see, I had mine somewhere here, I did. And inside it, I like that there is a little like QR code that if you've got a smartphone, you can actually rest your, or show your, open up your camera and point your camera at this QR code. And then this will bring you directly to the Enhanced Vision website where you can get more in-depth information on the Amigo. So that's also a nice little touch in there. So the slide we have now is the Amigo New Look, Same Friend. This is a front-facing view of the new Amigo. So again, for those of you that have used an Amigo in the past, you'll see some differences here. Basically, it's a white framed product with an inner black frame around the screen and 4 buttons on the front. You've got your camera, your contrast, and your magnification increase and decrease, or plus and minus.
All righty, and I want to add to this. On the screen, we're showing somebody, pressing your plus minus buttons to the left in a photograph. And then on the right, they're just really hanging on to the new Amigo. And I think this one is so important because the button placement on this Amigo, or what we call the hand, the feel of the product, is so wonderful because you can hang on to this product and you're not going to be hitting buttons by mistake, but those buttons are going to be right where your thumb positions are for very easy access. So again, in the industry, we call that having a better hand or better feel to the product. And we listen to you guys, and we have positioned the buttons kind of further up the product with a little more bezel so that you are not touching the screen all the time either. So it really has a great hand to it.
Yes, great point. And by the way, I just had a question that was a good point, and that was, I was meaning to do this, but I didn't get it added to the slides. We'll add that QR code to the slide deck before we post the slide deck to the website. So after the webinar, our slides are obviously archived, and they'll be available for you to go and download, and we'll add that QR code in there. And this will be recorded and also posted. So you'll have the entire webinar, you'll have the audio portion of it, and then you'll have the slide deck. And so thank you for the anonymous attendee. That's a great point. And a lot of the slides you'll see we included, so especially even like this next slide here that I have coming up, this is more so for you to go back to after the fact. This is going to show you what the buttons do. So this is, again, showing you the front of the Amigo. And starting from the bottom left, I'm going to go clockwise around the Amigo. So the bottom left is your color mode button, and that is color-coded blue. So that's going to be your contrast changes. Above that is your snapshot button, and that is orange. And then on the very top, on the right-hand side, and it's recessed down a little bit, there's another button that's orange, and that is your power button. Now, if you press and hold that for 4 seconds, that's going to turn it on or off. But if you press it for 1 second, just a kind of a quick press, it's going to put it into sleep mode. So if it's totally off and you want to turn it on, press and hold that for 2 seconds. 4 seconds will power you down. And then just a quick press will toggle you between sleep mode. And then to the right of that, down below, is your plus or increase zoom. So zoom in, increase magnification, and that is yellow with the plus sign on it. And then below that is your zoom out or decrease magnification with the minus button, or excuse me, the minus symbol on it. And that is also yellow. So the zoom in and zoom out are yellow buttons on the right-hand side of the unit. So now back view of this is showing you the different cameras. I'm going to start on the left-hand side again. This is again showing you that power button that's recessed. And now because it's flipped over, that's on the left-hand side from the back. Already mentioned, quick press puts it to sleep, 4 seconds, shuts it down totally. If it is off, a 2-second press will turn it on. And then in the middle, you have your lights on both sides of the camera. So in the very middle is your camera, and that's going to be used for your desktop magnification. To the right of that is your distance camera and another light. And then at the very bottom, it's labeled on the right-hand side, but it's on both sides, is actually the built-in reading stand, which we'll talk a little bit more about shortly.
And, you know, I have to give a shout out to our people who are from down south, because when you press a button, they call it mashing the button. You're going to mash that button, means you hold it down longer and then it turns it off, or a quick tap. And then that means you have just put it in sleep mode. So I heard that when I was down there at one of the events in Talladega, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good way to describe it, because you are holding it down longer when you turn it off or on. So what I'm going to describe, we have a photo of the side of the Amigo, which is the left-hand side when it's facing you. And what we have on that side is the USB-C port. So that's what you're going to use when you're charging your device. We have a status light, which stays solid green when it is completely charged. And then you are going to notice, we just wanted to mention this, there is an audio jack on the side, but that's going to be for use with future enhancements where we do have it doing some other things. So right now, if you put in a pair of, you know, earbuds or something that are plugging in, you're really not going to hear anything. So that is for future improvements of the product itself. So I just wanted to mention that in case anybody sees that.
Yeah, because that could be confusing. I definitely think so. So that was a good point, Michelle.
And then on our next slide, it has this really beautiful built-in reading stand. And I know reading stands, we think, oh, that's such a boring thing. But the way it is set in there, you can, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, push that stand down pretty easily with your 2 fingers. You're going to hear it click. You're going to feel it kind of snap into place. And it's very, very sturdy. So it's something that you're going to notice by the feel of it is kind of U-shaped so that you can fit larger objects underneath it while it is sitting on the desktop. So really well thought out, sturdy, kind of thicker in shape too, so that it's going to be very rugged. We really try to build things in that are going to last. So I was pretty impressed with this reading stand. All right, and on the next one here, we have actually a picture of it over some reading materials, and it's showing you how the built-in lighting really just evenly saturates whatever reading materials or whatever you put underneath it, you know, across the entire surface. I know some of the earlier models of really anybody's portables that came out at first had such hot spots and things because of the placement of the lighting, and ours is just so evenly saturated. It's gives you just an even tone of additional lighting so that we try to minimize hot spots when you have materials that are shiny. So that's a really great photo of the stand in the open position.
And Michelle, what I'm going to do is I'll finish off with the reading stands, and then before I get into the next stuff, we'll answer some questions, because I see some questions are popping in and we've got some raised hands. So
All right. And basically this next one I love because it's kind of it's a rendering or a drawing of the Amigo itself, and it's showing you the hand position. I'm a left-hander, so it shows someone kind of putting their left hand underneath and signing. You can use this to sign forms when you go to the doctor's office. If you're ordering something, really anything that's considered, light to medium writing. You certainly wouldn't want to write a book under anybody's portable because that's more of a desktop type of activity. But this really has such a nice wide open space to put your hand behind to actually manipulate round objects or to sign with a pen. So just kind of a nice rendering of that activity.
Agreed. And I was going to say, if anybody wants to practice writing out checks for large sums of money, I'll give you my home address. You can mail it, write it out to Michael Wood. So feel free. So let's answer some of these questions that we have popping in. And I did have somebody raise their hand. Zelma, I'll start with you. I'm going to give you the ability to talk. I'm not sure if you have a question. So Zelma, you can unmute now and ask your question.
No, that's okay. I have the answer now. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Zelma. No worries. I'm going to mute you back then. If
Okay.
anything pops up, just raise your hand again and we'll be here. All right. And I will go to the Q&A. So somebody asked, will the slide deck be shareable with attendees or shared with attendees? Yes, it will. So at the end of the webinar, we'll share some links to where to go to find the archive pages. And all of our prior events are all archived. You can go and get the slide decks. You can listen to the recording again. We do not offer the ACVREP credits on the pre-recorded stuff or the post-recorded stuff, but yes, that will be. Lara asked, how long is the battery life? And Michelle, I forgot to even take that note down.
I did as well. I will actually ask John. I will text him.
Thank you.
How long is the battery life?
I want to say that it's like 8 hours. It's a long battery life. I remember that was one of the big key things when they were, building this new Amigo, was to make sure that it had a longer battery life in it. So we will find that out.
Oh, he is so good. 3.5 hours use of
3.5 hours. Okay.
use. And usually it's about the same amount of time to charge your product up. So, and I noticed there's a contract underneath this, the person writing, Mike, that's your big TV contract.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, maybe. Yes.
On assistive technology.
Someone asked, will the future improvements include OCR? So we should take a running bet on that and see maybe. I'm not sure. Michelle and I have not been privy to what the future improvements will be, but I'm assuming that it will probably be something to do with OCR, maybe, just because, what else would you have an audio jack on there for, really, right? So it's a great assumption.
Yep, absolutely. And John gave me a more accurate answer than what I had. It's actually closer to 4 hours to charge the product itself. So that's a nice even number.
Awesome. And then someone asked, can you share the link to the archived webinars? So yes, I'm going to ask Carl, if you don't mind grabbing that link and dropping that in the chat for me, that would be awesome, just so that I don't have to leave this page and then go all around. So we will share that in the chat box for you. Does it have a warranty? Faith asked. It does have a warranty, and great questions. And I am definitely being bad at not having all of that great info because I was doing more feature set. And so I'll find out what the warranty is for you, Faith.
2 years.
Is it 2 years, Michelle? Thanks.
The answer is 2 years, according to John.
2 years. See, John, good thing you were here, John.
Shout out to John Dibble.
Here's another one for John then. How far is the distance viewing camera capable of? I know usually the distance cameras in our handhelds are like, 10 to 15 feet or so. It's something that you could use at a fast food restaurant to view the menu from behind the counter. So good question, Brenda, on how far is it.
These types of devices, it's so impressive now that it has that intermediate kind of what I call 6 to about maybe 10 feet when you're in front of a menu at Starbucks or at some sort of restaurant, that kind of thing. So it's in that intermediate distance. It's certainly, you wouldn't want to use this to try and look at someone's license plate across the parking lot. It's not designed for that, but definitely for the type of activities of daily living. You're at a great restaurant, you want to see what's up there, or if you are looking for what time does your plane take off and you're looking at those monitors, hold it up. It can be 5, 6, 10 feet away, and you'll be able to zoom that in. So kind of that intermediate distance viewing.
And so Carl, hey, Carl Brunig from Crystal Vision as well. He says his chat's disabled. I'm not sure if we have it disabled for attendees or not. And let's see if I can change that from my side. And if so, I will change that now. And then that way, I'm just looking to see if there's a way I can change that. Doesn't look like I have controls on how to change that. Carl might be able to change that. Our Carl, not you, Carl Brunig, but our Carl might be able to add that. And if you could look, Carl, and see, I'm not sure how to edit that, but if we can, we'll change that so you can chat as well. Got a couple other questions that popped in. So if it's in sleep mode for a given amount of time, will it automatically turn off entirely to preserve the battery and avoid draining it? Robert, that is going to be a John Dibble question as well. Michelle and I just got our units, like what?
Yeah, most of these products will not automatically turn off like that. And here's why. If you are shopping in a store and you have this in your briefcase or backpack and you're pulling it out frequently, you're going to just give a tap to that button, that on-off button, and then the screen will come to life again. So that's when you have it in sleep mode. You have to purposely hold that button down for 4 seconds. And the other thing it helps with is you're not depleting your battery when it's, say it's inside the case and you accidentally tap it. If we didn't have that kind of 3 to 4 second hold, it would turn on and off more easily and you would deplete your whole battery. So we're trying to find that sweet spot between, okay, I'm holding it down, purposely turning it on and off, and then tapping it on and off for a shopping activity or anything that you're frequently going to use your screen for. So you tell it what to do, basically, so it will not automatically shut off.
So I'm going to find really quickly our archived webinar page just to share that with everybody there, because somebody had asked for that in the chat. And the easiest spot to find that is at our training page, and freedomscientific.com/training, and then archived webinars or webinars on demand. So let me pull this back up here. Give me a second. And as a and do you still see my slides up there, Michelle? No.
No, I do not.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. And
I still love that one, that rendering, because it looks like the person's hand is actually going through the device itself.
It does look like that. And Carl Brunig, I was talking to Carl Scott. So Carl Scott took care of that link. Thank you. And I'm going to pause on the questions and just move on to the next couple of slides before, and then we'll jump back to questions again.
Yeah, because we may end up answering some of them with the live demo, which is always fun because you really do such a thorough job with the demo.
Oh gosh, thanks, Michelle. Thank you. So one of the cool new features that's built into this is the live panning mode. And what this does is, and it's going to be better to show it live when I do the demo, but just imagine you're zoomed into a textbook, or you're zoomed into like this, it's zoomed into a map, a weather map. And if you press the plus and the minus together at the same time for just a couple seconds, what it will then do is pop up on the screen 4 images that are next to the buttons on the Amigo itself. So the camera button then becomes your pan left, your contrast color button becomes your pan up, your zoom in button becomes your pan right, and your zoom out or decrease magnification becomes your pan down. And what that allows you to do is let the Amigo sit in one spot, and you can actually pan across the page a little bit. So I'll show that live. It's a pretty neat feature. And that is brand new. I think that's one of the only, I want to say the Ruby 10 might have something similar, but it's a different function because that's a touch screen. So this is a really nice feature in here.
Well, and how intuitive, because you're affecting it with the left and the right, as you press those buttons. So that makes good sense.
Yeah, it's very nice. So another thing is, since this is not a touchscreen unit, you really only have those 4 buttons, the 5th being, your power button, if you want to classify that as well. How do you access your main menu to make any changes? So to access your main menu, you're going to press the camera and the contrast button at the same time for about half a second. So if you press both of those, so that's your snapshot, which is your orange, and your color mode or contrast button, which is blue, for just about a half a second, and then release them. And then that will pull up your menu. We included this next slide because I think this is nice to show you the structure of the menu. And I'll go into the menu live in the demo, but on the left-hand side is your options when you first get into the main menu. And then if you were to choose your appearance menu, you'll see that your second level menu then gives you your font size, your lines and masking, light sensitivity filter, color blindness filter, color combinations. And then color combinations then goes down to a third level where you can choose the menu colors or your image colors. So this just gives you a nice flow chart of what's inside of the menu structure. So I think this will be a good thing to come back to if you then download these slides, of course, or use these for training.
Yep, I was just going to say that this is a great slide deck to actually print out and hand to your staff if you're training a staff on a new product, because you have such good technical info.
Absolutely.
All right, and the menu font sizes on this slide, we've done an example of how nice is it? Because all the older products that used to be out there, you could never change the menu font size. So you were, we had these words that were up there and people needed them larger. So you can actually affect the menu letter sizes, and it'll start out at a 24 font. And then we have it going all the way up to a 72 point font, which is really quite large for that size screen. So it's nice to have choices. Again, people working with this product and with the different individuals, they can customize it to whatever works for them. All right. And I do want to say one thing, because it's like I feel like a newscaster. It's like Mr. John Dibble says, the panning feature is unique to Amigo, and he wants us to make sure we get that.
It is. Okay.
This is where you're going to get it, folks, only on this Amigo. So it is pretty exciting, and I can't wait till you show that, Mike, on your live demo.
It's really a neat feature. So I first saw it at the demo at NFB, actually, the NFB convention. We had one there that was like one of the first units, and it was fun to see it.
And it's the live panning. So I want to make clear the function of that live panning. But so we're going to talk about a little bit about this dynamic contrast. We have made such a huge improvement in the contrast. So when we're showing color items like this and we go into a contrast mode, Mike, you have done a great job with these slides, because this next slide is going to show exactly how it processes a picture or a magazine, which has, sometimes they'll have colors that are so close, like shades of blues and, a light yellow on a light blue and things. And you're going to see exactly how this software processes it. So the photo to the left is showing it in a contrast mode. We have the two Amigos on a magazine. And then the image to the right shows a different color contrast mode with that same magazine, where we have the blue background with the yellow letter, because we wanted to show you just how close sometimes these shades of colors are and how the processing of this software really crisps up those letters and symbols and images so that you don't have to play around perhaps or use multiple contrast modes. You may now have one or two that work for you really well because of how it processes that image now and picks up that letter. Because I've had some food boxes that it'll have like a yellow background with a light red letter on it, and it can't, some products can't pick it out. It really has a tough job, and I have to put it to the black background with a white letter. That contrast, that's a little more extreme for me. And then I get it to pick it up. But this is, it has much more, it's so much more accurate, I think, the processing.
It's nice. And I've got a great advertisement in a magazine that I'll show. And thanks to John Dibble for putting a lot of the, demo stuff side by side here together, because these were really helpful. And I think they show it extremely well.
Oh, yeah, and I think he puts it best when he says, most text would be invisible if you didn't have this, kind of contrast mode that processes this way, and it just, boom, it pops up.
And I've got, if the time allows during the live demo, I do actually have another handheld video magnifier next to me that I'll plug in and show the difference between, the same page in the magazine, so you can kind of see something without that dynamic contrast and something with. So I want to answer a couple more questions here before we jump into the next slide. So is it a touch screen, Sandy asked. It is not a touch screen, no. So you control it all with those buttons on the sides of the screen itself. So it's not a touch screen. Would a person be able to test the Amigo to see if it is suitable for them before purchasing? That's where our fantastic group of dealers and resellers and supporters out in the market would be. You've the great person to reach out to. So we've got a network of people that we could connect you with, where you could actually get a live in-home demo, or some of them have storefronts where you can go and try the equipment out before purchasing. So the answer is yes. Anything you want to add to that, Michelle?
I do. I want to go back kind of to the touch screen. It's so true. Sometimes we have, we have quite a large number of customers that have neuropathy where they can't feel things. So having that touch screen can be sometimes a hindrance to a certain population. So this is where, again, you have choices. You have touchscreen for those who like touchscreen and are used to it and maybe don't have hand issues. And then now you've got something that doesn't have touchscreen for someone who may have neuropathy or arthritis, where they can't really make the bending motions that well with their fingers and their hands. So, and just grasping the button, the side, and pressing works for them. So again, it's good to have choices.
Correct. Someone asked, does it have maintenance? So there's no maintenance that you would have to do. There's the 2-year warranty on this, but there's no regular maintenance that you have to do. No oil changes, no tire rotations. So you're safe. No maintenance that you're going to deal with. And let's see, someone asked, do you know if it will be added to APH quota? This will not be on quota funds. This is not an APH product. So this is an enhanced vision product specifically, and no plans on having that added to APH quota. If you are a quota fund user, we have a Juno webinar coming up later today that I'll be on at 3 o'clock, 3 to 4:30 through APH, but no, the Amigo will not be.
Yeah, you're a busy webinar, man.
Yes, I know. I'm like, goodness, I'll be webinared out by the end of the day. Someone asked, is there autofocus? Yes, great question. So it does autofocus for you, Sandy. And that is a yes. Is there additional charging? Is there an additional charge or fee for the warranty? No. So it comes with a 2-year warranty, fresh out of the box with your purchase price. What covers the warrant, or what is covered by the warranty, I believe. So pretty much any manufacturer's defects or any issues that come up, but not, misuse or dropping or throwing or anything like that. So we'll be clear. None of that stuff.
They don't bounce, but
No.
there is an extended warranty that if you wanted to, as an individual, purchase an extension to that warranty, that will be available. So, and you can just shoot us an email. We can send you the information on the pricing for extended warranty and what the part number is, etc. We'll send you all that information.
And someone asked, and I'm embarrassed, I don't know what the weight of the device is. And that's a John question. Rachel asked, what is the weight of the device? And so we'll get back to you there.
We'll get that for you.
Yeah.
I think what's really good to note about this as well is that it does start at a lower magnification too. So if somebody has glare issues or needs contrast more than they do magnification, it starts out at a 1.8 magnification and goes, gosh, all the way up to 30 times. So you have this really nice range that starts lower, because I know sometimes when products are designed, because of what the lenses they use, the software we use, they might start a little bit higher, but this one actually starts quite a bit lower in magnification, which is really nice for those of you who need the contrast, but not necessarily having to start out at a larger magnification size.
And
it's 1.5 pounds. I'm sorry, Mike.
Thank you. Oh, no. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Do you need to toggle between distance and reading focus? So there's 2 different cameras in there. So when you have the reading stand open and you're using it with the reading stand open, you'll be using the reading camera. So that's going to focus directly on the text below. When you close that reading stand and have the unit on, it will switch over to that distance camera. And so then that is automatically going to do distance at that point. So it depends on if you have that reading stand open or closed, but it will autofocus in both of those. And will you be utilizing the same distance camera with the Pebble in the future? I work a lot with the VR clients and find that they need a single hold device, and I recommend the Pebble often. Thank you. So I don't know, Adam. I know that there's a revamp coming for the Pebble. I will say that. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying that, but I know eventually, we're obviously looking at revamping a lot of the different products and updating them. But I'm not sure if there's going to be a distance camera in that one, Adam. So reach out to us and we'll keep in touch and see, as we learn more, we'll let you know what's going to be coming for that. Great question.
Yep.
A lot of questions coming in. Is there a split screen option for near or distance viewing? There is not, Melinda, no. So it's one or the other. So with that, you've got either distance or desktop magnification.
Yeah, and to further comment on that, our focus groups have shown that when you split a screen this small, you're not getting enough field of view on either. So you don't want to split a screen for distance or near viewing on something that's of this size. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a challenge, I think, sometimes to be able to view that way. Some people can, do it really well, but others.
Yeah, it's hard. It definitely is. And then I feel like maybe at that point you'd want more of the touch screen too, to do the separate between the two of them because of that. So I did have a great question. This came over, and this was something that I tested. So again, this is one of those things where, we got this Amigo and we put it through the ringer as far as testing and reporting back to our product managers saying, is this supposed to happen or can we change this? And I was not sure. So as Michelle talked about earlier, on the side of that Amigo, you have the USBC plug that you use to charge it. And what I did was I went and bought a USB-C to HDMI cable. So it's USB-C on one side, HDMI on the other. And then I plugged that into a video capture card that I use. I use this video capture card for most of my webinars that I do. So when I demo equipment, it makes it really easy to plug that in. My video capture card is HDMI to USB. So I just plug the USB port into my laptop, and then that plugs into that video capture card. And then the video capture card has an HDMI slot on the other side. And so with that, I am now able to, when I do this live demo here shortly, I'm able to actually let you see exactly what I see on my Amigo screen. So with all that setup that I have, you could plug this into a computer monitor or to a TV. So great question. That was an anonymous person asking, and I'm glad because I meant to mention that. So,
yeah, and I'll take the price on the Amigo. This brand new Amigo is $12.95. So I want to get that one answered.
Yes. So thank you, Michelle. And the answer is yes to connecting to your TV. The APH webinar, Haley, is if you go to the APH website and click on their Access Academy, it's a webinar on the Juno at 3 o'clock, 3 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Ed Martin, hey Ed. Ed said, is there a warranty registration form to be completed? There was none in the box, his box that he had the device in. So Ed, I'm gonna have to find out. There definitely is usually a warranty card or.
I know we do have a spot on our
website,
yes, where you can register your devices. I know we're trying to be a little more responsible when it comes to being tree killers and, you know, all the paperwork that you get. Sometimes you get all these manuals and things. So if you ever notice that there is not something in the product, go to the website. We can get the device registered from there. So.
Yeah, and I just directed somebody there the other day too, because the same thing. It was like, it was easier. And you're right. I mean, I hate printing as much as I can. I like to do it digital.
I noticed that same thing, Ed. So that was a good point.
So I'm going to jump into, you answered the pricing question. Joseph, there is no OCR on the new Amigo. So that's something we mentioned maybe future, but right now this Amigo does not have OCR capability. So I won't demo the OCR because there's no OCR. And so I'm going to jump into our slide deck, and next up is our live demo.
I love that. It looks like a magic show, like we're behind this magic curtain. We have those Bitmojis that are the cartoons, and the picture that was up there had one of those magic curtains.
So
here we go.
I've got now, so I have a magazine here, and the advertisement is for Tylenol, but the reason that I chose this was because this is a red, I mean, the entire page is red in this magazine. And, you know, then you've got this white font on it. Well, if you're in a high contrast mode and you come onto this, you know, magazine page,
this look at that.
Just pops. Now, if you were using the old Amigo or a lot of other handheld video magnifiers, in these other contrast modes, this is really going, they would struggle. So this is where you're really getting full, you know, vision of that dynamic contrast capability, where this just really puffs everything out for you. And, you know, you'll notice even down here where I'm looking at doctor recommended, that's a different color on top of the red. So I'm going to go to live. So you'll notice there.
Oh, yeah, because even that little asterisk, the little kind of floral symbol, you know, for next to OTC, because of the white, and then it's got this kind of grayish green. There's not much contrast at all. That even popped when you had it in the contrast.
It's a horrible, I mean, it's a horrible, look at that. I mean, that just makes that pop really nicely there. And zooming in, zooming out. So that I wanted to show you the capability of that dynamic contrast, which is great. Another thing I want to touch on is if you are in contrast mode, like I am now, and you wanted to get back to your true color mode, you can cycle through them by pressing that blue contrast button a couple times. Or if you press that for a couple seconds and then release it, it actually brings you right back to your live true color mode quickly and easily as well. So that's really, really a nice feature. I can show you if you want. I can show you, let's see here. Let me just plug in. Sorry, I've got a cord going here, there, and everywhere. I'm going to unplug this for a second and show you what would happen with another video magnifier that I have handy here.
Yep, and just bear with us. There you go.
Yep, it took a second. So this is what that looks like with another video magnifier. That's in contrast mode. There's your contrast mode. I mean, night and day difference between those. Here's true color. And again, back down to that horrible light blue. And here is your color contrast. So there's white on black. And you'll notice, I mean, the black is not that crisp, the white is not that crisp. And this is a, I'm not going to say which video magnifier, but this is a good video magnifier that I'm using. So now I'm going to switch back over.
Yeah, that color saturation is amazing. This is going to make looking at photographs really enjoyable because you're going to get such vivid colors with this particular device.
I mean, look at the coloration on that. I mean, where that text just pops so much clearer on this. So that's that dynamic contrast, which is also brand new and only in the Amigo, in the new Amigo. So that is with magazine. I'm going to now just take a newspaper article here just to give us some text. And what I'm going to show you is, so I'm just pressing the zoom in, zoom out right now, messing with our magnification. If I want to press the orange and blue button, so your snapshot and your color contrast buttons together, and I press them for just a couple seconds together at the same time, that pulls up my main menu. Now on that main menu, you're going to control everything by the buttons. So on the right-hand side, there's an arrow pointing down, and that is right next to my decrease magnification button. So if I press that decrease magnification, it now gives me an arrow going up next to my increase magnification, or the plus button. So I'm using those to move up and down within this menu. If I want to select something, I press the blue color contrast button, which has the check mark next to it. If I want to go back, I press the the orange camera button to bring me back. And that's kind of the arrow going back. So what I'm going to do now is just go into my appearance menu, and I'm going to select that. And our font size, Michelle covered earlier, that's going to be our menu font size. And down below that is our lines and masking capability. I'm going to select that just to show you. You can select lines and masking. You can select your line position, and you can select your mask size. So if I select lines and masking, and I want to add a guideline on the page, I can do that, or no line. And I have a light sensitivity filter. This is really nice. Oftentimes, if you have glare issues or you're sensitive to bright lights, you can actually kind of mute everything on this. Another thing is our color blindness filter. This is another patented feature that is in the Amigo, and you have 3 different filters for color blindness. So there's no filter, or you can choose one of the 3 options. Usually what I do if I'm meeting with somebody is, if they have some color blindness, I'll mess with these and see which one they find looks the best. So when you're looking at images, this actually will convert everything so that the image will look true to color for them, even though they have colorblind. They are colorblind. And you've got your color combinations, your brightness. What I really wanted to show here was our edge effects. So if I click the blue button now, next to the check mark, and then select edge effects again, you'll see here that I'm actually showing a live image of the material that I'm viewing, which is a newspaper. And what this is going to do is give us right away what the image is going to look like. So now on the right-hand side, I'm going to press that minus button to move down, and then press the color contrast button to choose highlight. So you'll notice that that just changed over to a highlighting of my edges. If I go down one more and choose smoothing, smoothing kind of changes the way, it just kind of smooths out font that might be a little rigid or pixelated. And then down one more does edge only. So it now outlines that text and just gives us edge only. So you've got those options. So you've got no effects, edge highlight, edge smoothing, or edge only. I'm going to go back up to our no effects and bring us back to our live view for a second here.
How wonderful, as a person who works with people that need these devices customized, you're able to see and test out those customizations with your customer right then and there and have an example of it. And that smoothing feature, I do want to mention, we used to crack up and kind of describe it as making the word beefier. And I know that it's a funny word, but what it does is it gives you, yes, a smoother edge, but it kind of fattens up the letter a little bit more so that you've got a bolder, that's probably the better word for it, a bolder letter, so that you have a better chance of identifying, you know, an L from an I or an E from a C. So it gives you just that more accuracy level to make the letter more recognizable.
So what I wanted to show, and then we'll jump back because we've only got a couple minutes left, and I know some people have to bounce probably, is what I just did was I actually did the panning mode. So I'm going to switch back over here to our live color mode. And I'm going to press together the plus and the minus, so your increase and decrease magnification, together for about 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And you'll notice now on the screen, up pops some arrows. And the arrows are going to the left, right, up, and down. So I am not going to move my Amigo right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the plus or increase magnification button, which is right next to that arrow pointing to the right. So I'm going to press that. And that moved my page over to the right. I'm now going to press the decrease, which is the showing me the down arrow. And I can move left, right, and I'm not having to move my Amigo itself. I'm actually live panning the image. So this is really nice for if I'm reading something and I want to gently move around the page. To get out of there, I press those two buttons together again and just hold them for, 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds, half a second, 1 second. And if I zoom in a little bit more and do the same thing, I'm pressing them again together. And just to show you when I'm zoomed in even further, I can do the exact same thing.
To me, that's amazing, because some of the older products, when you would just move slightly, you would totally lose the words because the cameras weren't able to keep up. But now with these just really quick processing cameras and the screen, the way it processes so quickly and responds so quickly, you don't lose those words at all.
You don't.
And then you don't lose your orientation. You're able to actually follow more easily where you are on the page.
So that is really, I'm going to jump back just because we've got only a couple minutes and we've got to do a couple more slides. So that is the Amigo menu option. I didn't go through all the menu. Maybe we'll have to do, if anybody wants a follow-up or anything like that, let us know and we can always, do something a little bit more in depth or do, meet with one of our resellers or dealers and we can do a hands-on demo as well.
Or we can do a deeper dive like we did with another product.
We did. That was fun, actually. And that was because we had so many questions on that and, so many features in there as well.
Yeah, sometimes we really do try to cram a lot into, these 1 hour sessions, but we don't want you guys to glaze over or get bored or go, oh my gosh, that's too difficult. It really is such a very intuitive product. So we'd be glad, we were talking earlier, we can customize any of these trainings for any size groups for people. If you have a Commission for the Blind that's got new counselors, and you want the 4 or the 6 of you to be on a Zoom call, we can do a training for you. So definitely, we're going to give you some information at the end here on how to get a hold of us to do some of those things.
Absolutely. So for those of you that have to jump before we get to our raffle, the raffle will come up next after the ACVREP. But for those of you that need credits, email credits@vispero.com. And the closing code for today is FRIEND, FRIEND. And I'll put that in the chat to everybody as well. And closing code.
And the reason for this really positive closing code is the Amigo Ami means friend. So your Amigo is your friend on the go.
And the opening code, just for those that need it again, is BEST. And closing code is friend. And I do love that, the Amigo. So let's see here. Let's do the raffle. And then we have a bunch of questions. So what we'll do is we'll do the raffle. And then we will go back to questions and answer questions as well before closing up. So let me just go to this number thingy majiggy here and pull a name or a number and then correlate it with a name.
We should do an end of year session of names that never made it.
I know. And we do have a slide later I want to mention of a really cool story from a raffle winner, Judy Schwartz, that won on a couple webinars before this. So the raffle winner is, hold on, I got to get in there and find that.
We got to get that drum roll
I
sound.
know, right? We need that. Luis Fernandez. Luis Fernandez is the raffle winner today. Congratulations, Luis.
Yay, congrats, Luis.
Congratulations. And somebody asked me to type, sorry, my ADD with I was reading the chat. Someone asked me, so email credits, I'm putting that in the chat, credits@vispero.com is where you're going to email your ACVREP stuff to. Louis, for the prize, congratulations again. Email, you can email credits or you can email Michelle or I directly, and we will take care of, making sure that you're set with the $500 gift card, and you can pick any product from Enhanced Vision, Freedom Scientific, or Optelec. So any of the Freedom brands.
That is a good point. And now we have on the screen the kind of the connect with us information. We are everywhere. We are on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have some great training videos. If you go to Enhanced Vision USA on YouTube, you can even put in product names if you want to know about our Geordies, about our Merlins. Just put that information in there, and all of these wonderful videos come up. Some of them from some of you partners who are on this webinar right now have done some of them. So we thank you for that. Also, let's see here. We have support and training. Mike, if you wanted to take that one.
Yeah, sure thing. And before that, I was just reading, someone asked what the name of today's event was. It was the New and Improved Amigo by Enhanced Vision. If you just put in, Amigo, I'll know that this was the event. And our support and training department is phenomenal. Michelle and I are just a small part of doing it with the low vision stuff, but we also have tons of stuff on our blindness products, software, hardware. This, as we said, when these slides are going to be archived, there's a link here directly to the Amigo page, which will give you all different information there. And then the Freedom Scientific main page of training, teacher resources if you're using our software, and then the webinars on demand, which will be where you'll find all of our archived webinars. So you can go back and rewatch any of them at any time.
And Mike, I do want to give one last answer. We had somebody ask if it remembers the settings, and John just came back and said, hey, get that in there. It does remember the settings. So definitely, it's just a great feature. And the other thing is when you're in the menu, It's not going to time out on you. So if it takes you a little while to learn that menu and you're in there, you purposefully have to back arrow out of it. So we've really put in some features to help you. So thank you for that reminder.
And that's a great, yeah, whoever asked that question, I missed that, but that was great. And I like the fact that it doesn't time you out of the menu because, it might take you a little bit, and you can, again, increase that font size on the menu. So on my screen, it was the default 28-point font. But if you wanted to increase that, you can. And thanks, Carmen. Glad you enjoyed the training. So let me show this next slide and then we'll go to the questions. I wanted to share this story because I think this is super cool. So Judy Schwartz had won the raffle, a couple webinars ago, I believe it was. And we had chatted, and she's a TVI, and she said, my students have what they need right now, but I'd like to gift my $500 to somebody that I've worked with, a student. And so this student was somebody, Nuala, who she's known and worked with for years. And she said, go to their website and see what, you want to put this $500 towards. And so she was able to get the $500 off of the Compact 7 was her product of choice. And I had actually told her, I said, the new Amigo is coming out. You may want to hold off. She's like, well, I definitely want to get something now. So I told her I'm going to, ship her an Amigo to try out and compare to the Compact 7. But, this was just a cool story. Judy wasn't able to use it for herself, but she passed it on to this student. And the student is ecstatic about this. So there's some images of her holding the Compact 7 box and then using it to read something. So I'm going to go to the questions. Well, we've got our thank you slide up there. Michelle, do you want to do the corny joke?
We have these beautiful Bitmojis that are cartoons, and Mike puts one up there of a gopher with us coming out of the ground. So we were going to go, so are you going to go for the Amigo?
Yes, go for it. Go for
it.
Or just don't do what's the movie. Is it Caddyshack or whatever, right, with the gopher? So someone did ask, so I'm going to start at the questions here. What are the other items to include for the ACVREP credit? So include your name, how you want it to appear on the certificate, the date, the title of the event, and then the opening and closing code. So that's the information that I'll need for that. So switching a student, Brenda asked, switching a student from a Ruby should be very easy, do you think? I feel that it would be because this is pretty straightforward. It doesn't have that many buttons. If they've been using a Ruby, it's pretty similar. What are your thoughts, Michelle?
Yeah, I would say there might even be kind of a faster uptick on using it because you're just the hand on it and the minimal buttons. Some of the features are automatic on it, like the processing of the contrast and everything. So once it's set with the features that you need, they're just turning it on and off and magnifying. So I think both options are good, but just having a little larger screen if they need it because of their acuity level, it's a good choice.
And then having that, in the Ruby, the only in-depth, or higher level tool it has in it, I should say, or advanced function is the guideline and the masking. But then this takes it further with having that edge enhancement of the text, that dynamic contrast. So it's got a lot more. So yeah, I would say that this would kind of be, the upgrade to that as well.
Yeah, we kind of call it taking contrast to the next level. So if you have a student that has contrast issues or color blindness, this is a great choice. Great choice.
Yeah, that color blindness feature, I'd love to show that, and we might just have to do a short video afterwards. Maybe what we'll do is a video together, Michelle, and post it to the EV website showing how to go through some of the functionality. I think that would be great to help people, and then we'll have a link to that too. So maybe we can put those links in the webinar archive stuff, but we'll take that offline.
That sounds great.
Someone asked, when will the drawing be? It just happened. So anonymous attendee, it happened. If you weren't there, you missed it. But And do the customization settings reset somewhat? You had answered that already. Charles, just to cover it again, those customizations stay set. So if you power off and turn it back on, those settings do stay and remain, which is nice. Jewel Ann said, since it has a USB-C cable, would any firmware updates, such as maybe OCR, be downloaded or need to be shipped back for updates? Fantastic question. You are definitely the tech-savvy one in the crowd. So it can be updated by that USB-C port. So I just upgraded or updated my software on mine a couple nights ago, and it was super duper easy. It walks you through it. I used a USB-C thumb drive, plugged it in, went to the menu. There's an option in there for updating, and it literally took no time at all. And the unit walks you through it, tells you what to do, and it updated, and boom, there it was, the latest version. So yes, Julianne, great question. And that would be how you would update that firmware, is with that USB-C.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, the ones you guys are getting will be, you don't need to do really any updates on, and we're just talking about future generation products, because that would be a totally different product. When you're putting OCR onto a product, it is a totally different product. So these as they stand are the products how they will be with the features that they do have right now. So I don't want to promise anything. And also you don't have the hassle of having to update something. When we work with products, Mike and I, sometimes we get them in the beginning stages and we want to test certain things out to make sure that things are looking correctly, working correctly, shifting correctly when it comes to a feature.
Yeah.
So occasionally, he and I will have to do those types of upgrades, but we never want to push those types of updates on a regular customer. So
no, definitely not. So this will ship with the latest, which is nice.
yes.
Is the Amigo immediately available to order? Yes, Diana, great question. It is ready to go. It's on the Enhanced Vision website. Sandy asked, can you turn the autofocus off for times like signing a document so that the signature line, so that it will focus on the signature line instead of focusing on your hand? I have not tried this with writing yet, but I think that within the software, they have it set to focus correctly when you are using it in that option. So
yeah, I have tried it.
Have you?
Cameras are so quick now. And because the distance from the camera to the page is much shorter than it would be with a desktop or with an Acrobat, and it's such a quick response camera that you don't have to do any switching anymore. Some of the products from a while ago you did, and you had those features. I know sometimes in a desktop it can be a little more apparent because you have a larger distance between camera and the piece of paper. So with all the newer cameras that are a much quicker response, you don't have to do that anymore.
And that one. And then what would the magnification options be? Did we cover that earlier, Michelle, what the levels were for this?
It was a 1.8 all the way up to a 30 times magnification, either continuously or in increments. So
Thank you.
Yep.
And that was Brenda. I hope you're still there, Brenda. So 1.8 to 30. Did you say 30?
30 times, yes.
30. Thank you. So that was all the questions in the Q&A. If there's any other questions, or if somebody wants to raise their hand, if there's a question, feel free to raise your hand. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes.
Great questions, by the way. Thank you guys for being so participative. We really like that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And you're welcome, Brenda, for that. Thank you for the question. And while the chat was cut out earlier, Michelle, my mom texted me separately and was like, tell Michelle I'm here and say hello. So my mom says,
hey, Mrs. Wood.
She was all excited when I told her last night, because I was getting stuff ready, because I was like messing with this, making sure everything was charged and that everything was going to work smoothly, because I get so anxious sometimes. And I said, I'm getting ready for a webinar. She's like, you didn't tell me you had another webinar?
We have to give a shout out to Mike's bow tie
Oh, yes,
we're,
yes.
because we're in the vision industry. It has eyeballs on it.
And this was gifted to me by a very special friend who is on the webinar right now. And it's funny because Michelle and I will find these little odds and ends sometimes, and we'll just pick them up and mail them to each other. And this was something that came as a surprise in the mail from Michelle. And I said, I have to wear it today with the little eyeballs on it. And so thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome. I just thought it was, so fitting because you see these things at the eye doctor shows, they always have the little giveaways that have eyes on them. So.
Oh, and James just pointed out, and I saw that this morning, the email that went out. So for those of you that are left on the call, there's actually $100 discount right now on the Amigo until September 30th. And I saw that this morning when I first got the email, and then I forgot to add it to the slides. But so there is $100 discount off of the Amigo right now.
Oh, thank you, James.
Yes, thanks, James. Keeping us honest. And Darren, the magnification goes up to 30x magnification. And Cindy, you're welcome. I'm glad that it was informative. And thanks, Carl Brunig. Hope you're doing well.
Hope you're still playing guitar, Carl.
Yeah, he's got awesome music. He's shared some of that music.
He's talented, really talented.
Yeah, that was a great email I saw this morning that said the $100 off until September 30th. So that was nice. So you're saving a little bit of money, and it's a powerful tool. I've enjoyed it. I've had fun messing with it.
I used it to switch some watch batteries the other night. I mean,
did you?
Those things, the numbers are written so small on
yeah.
And there's like 8 million different types of batteries. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I had the Amigo on the desk, and I just stuck the watch underneath and bought the right battery.
And Michelle, you mentioned earlier, and I didn't show this. This is like, we have these cases with our products, right? And it's like sounds stupid, but some of them are not always the nicest. This is a really nice looking case.
Oh, it is. And look at the color contrast. It's gray. Yeah. It's like this heathered gray. So if you pop it into a black briefcase, you can find it.
It's really nice. It's a great heather gray. And, it's got hooks in the back that it does come with a strap. So you can have a strap. But then it's also got this cool little just handle. So if you want to hold it, I guess like, what would you say? Like a little, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a...
It's got like a little carrying loop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm picturing like a 1950s woman dressed in like a flapper dress going to like, or like a, so if you want to be a flapper, you can hold this little handle here, and it's got that. And then inside the color contrast is awesome too, because it's a bright lime green.
Beverly Watkins has the word, it's a clutch.
That's the word I was looking for. Beverly Watkins, another.
Beverly.
Yeah, thank you, Beverly. Thank you. A clutch. And then it's got the pouch in the front, and you've got three little elastic sections in there. So it's a really nice thing. Beverly, another awesome. Beverly's always
that lens cloth can go in that little pocket.
Yes. And if you're carrying around any casharoo, you can have it. And this could be your carry-all clutch. And Beverly, I want to give a shout out to Beverly too. She's always awesome. She's local here too. So we were able to connect last week or 2 weeks ago now for lunch. And I was all excited because I had my Amigo, and I was like, have you seen it yet? She's like, I brought mine too to show you in case you hadn't seen it. And so we were, and the power cord will fit in there, which is nice because sometimes, again, the cases are not always, this is a great designed case. So very happy with it.
Yeah.
Removing my spotlight. So any other questions? I got one more. Someone said, I'm glad it's upgraded. Same here. Same here. I'm excited that it was an upgrade to this. And I think that Beyonce would be happy as well. She would sing, let me upgrade you. And I think if we were as easy to upgrade, it would be fantastic. Thanks, Jim. Jim said, hope we can get an updated Amigo for our traveling low vision evaluation clinic. Good to see you again as well. He said, good to see both of us. He's loving the new bow tie, and you'll miss the APH webinar for overlapping ex officio trustee meeting. Well, I'll see you, Jim. If you're planning on being at annual meeting, I'm going to be at annual meeting, which I can't wait for, with all the ex officio trustees. So I'm hoping that you'll be there for that.
Oh, and all of our business partners that are on right now, let them know we will be at the Academy of Ophthalmology at the end of this month. So it's September 30th through October 3rd in Chicago. So Vispero will have a booth, have them come on up, and we will show them the brand new Amigo.
And someone asked if I can show the charging port. So I've got my camera up right now, and I'm just going to show you on the side. And the lighting is not the best. Let me see if I can get a little bit of lighting here from my phone.
There you go.
Charging port is right there on the side. So it's the left-hand side if you're looking at the unit, and it's that USB-C. So it's the USB-C port on the side, and that's where you would charge it. Yeah, and see, even my unit says on the back, not for sale, demo unit only. So, Geneva, thanks. You're welcome. And enjoy the Apple event. I bet that would be fun. I know they're launching a new phone or something soon, I saw. So, well, thanks, everybody. We appreciate you coming. And Michelle, thanks as always for all of your help and support. And you can get back to your vacation. You're on vacay.
But I wouldn't miss this for the world. This is, educating people on what is out there is so much fun with you, Mike. So thank you.
Oh, you're well. It's fun with you. And I'm glad. Thanks for taking time from your vacation. And, I see you looking over there. Get out there to that yard sale, bazaar. What is it? Street fair, festival.
Yeah, we're having the huge neighborhood rummage sale. We've got 27 houses that are participating. So there's treasures to be had out there.
Get out there. And if you see anything good, send me pictures. So have fun, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. And I'll be seeing you here with my bow tie over my eyes at some point in the future, hopefully.
Thank you, everybody.
Take it easy, everybody.